in Rio de Janeiro. This is the preliminary session on day 6 of the swimming competition. The Paralympic Games of 2016 has gotten underway in enthralling fashion. The opening 5 days yielding a host of world records and indeed some incredible moments. There were moments of disappointment. There have been moments of delight as well. The heroes have been humbled and new household names have emerged in the pool. And such is the intensity of competition at Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. Well, we've got incredible races in store for you on day 6. Simmons against Mareshko against Robinson will go in the 400 free. You got Sophie Pascoe renewing the rivalry with Aurélie Ribard in the women's 100 free S10, while Andre Brazil and Felipe Rodriguez look to defend Brazil's honor against the Ukrainian pairing of Dubrov and Kripak in the 100 free. Japan's Kimura will look to defend his World Championship title in the 100 breast S11, and the world record holder Millward and Slater for Great Britain will go up against Elliott and Patterson of Australia, while Long and Marks of the United States will be challenging for medals come the final session on day 6 in the women's 100 back. There is plenty to look forward to in the pool, but this is the preliminary session, the heats, where times are of critical importance in the sense that swimmers will need to post faster times to gain greater lane draws come final time, and indeed for some even qualify for the final. So the venue is only just seeing people starting to file into the aquatic stadium. That'll fill up as the day progresses with more and more Brazilian swimmers in the pool. The draw of the Brazilian swimmers has been significant during Rio 2016, and there has been some grand success. Day 5 ended on a very positive note for the home faithful as Daniel Dias grabbed his milestone 20th Paralympic medal and his 12th. A dozen times now he's been the gold medalist at the Paralympic Games. So the crowd has been generally gathered in little groups representing support bases for certain nations. Canada, United States, Great Britain, Ireland, Denmark, Mexico, and certainly the Dutch support. The Australians have been coming out with incredible range of, shall we call them accessories? Inflatable kangaroos amongst others. There's Team Turner, 14-year-old Nicole Turner's friends and family. She'll be going again today, Nicole Turner, in the women's 400 Freestyle S6.
An interesting time of the swimming program here at the Olympic Aquatic Stadium, because a lot of the athletes now are moving into their second and third events, and that's when fatigue sets in. So we're now into day 6, and here we have the first of the heats to kick off the early session.
The men's 400 meter Freestyle S6 heat 1 of 2. 5 swimmers going in the opening heat. A start list that includes Carl Forsman of Sweden, the 19-year-old who won the breaststroke title, but McLean of New Zealand, Brazil's Glock, Van Hofwegen of the Netherlands, and Yang Hong of People's Republic of China. Anders Olsen, that world record is not likely to be in danger during the day, although Bocciardi of Italy will swim in the second heat of 2, has been going close to the 5-minute mark in recent months. So welcoming the swimmers to the pool deck. Forsman, McLean, Glock, Van Hofwegen and Yang. Support for Hamish McLean, the New Zealander who goes in lane 3. Brazilian Taliesin Glock. A race under appeal. The 200 IM SM6 saw him touch the wall fourth, but has been promoted to bronze medal. It's not been confirmed as yet. Race under dispute. So clarification expected later today. There is McLean of New Zealand. Forsman, McLean, Glock, Van Hofwegen and Yang. Into the pool and getting some good work in the underwater was Yang Hong of People's Republic of China. Van Hofwegen is very quickly into his stroke and is taking it out very hard, is the young Dutch swimmer. Taliesin Glock of Brazil is settled into a stroke, while absolutely very quick stroke is McLean of New Zealand. Only been competing for just over a year on the international circuit, only made his international debut for New Zealand's para-swimming team at the World Championships in Glasgow last year. And while he made the final of the men's 400 freestyle, he touched for 8th in that final, did young McLean, 16 years old at his first Paralympic Games. Now it is Van Hofwegen of the Netherlands who leads, but he's taking it out at a pretty brisk rate in the opening 100. An ambitious 19-year-old who has a tendency of taking it out hard. Does he have the back end? Taliesin Glock has found a settled stroke as they hit the 100. It's the Dutch swimmer ahead of the Brazilian, ahead of the New Zealander.
Well, it looks as though the Dutch swimmer did settle slightly in that second 50, but he's maintaining that lead of about 2.5 body lengths at the moment ahead of Taliesin Glock, who settled nicely in that first 50. And looks as though he's just lengthened his stroke a little into this second 100, and sitting off his right shoulder is Hamish McLean from New Zealand, looking comfortable. But at the moment, Van Hofwegen having a great swim. He actually extended his lead just ever so slightly at the 150-metre mark, touching the wall at 152.74, easily ahead of Glock and McLean. Glock is 6 seconds behind at the moment. He won't want to lose touch entirely, even though he does know he has a strong back end. Had a big program on day 5, swimming in the IM heat and final. So maybe feeling a little fatigued and maybe just trying to swim conservatively this morning.
You'd expect he'd be swimming conservatively and just to save his energy for the prospect of the final. Taliesin Glock of Brazil. Individual medley takes a great deal out of the swimmers. It is physically rather punishing, mentally as well. The stresses on the body and the mind of the individual medley are not to be underestimated. It requires a mastery of all the strokes, and Glock really pushing it hard in the IM on day 5. But Van Hofwegen, who missed out in the medal in the 50 free, although he made the final and indeed missed out in the medal in the 100 back, a race which he tried to take out hard, is now going in one of his favorite events and looking to take control of this situation. Hamish McLean has got a good stroke rate, and he's at the moment just on the left of your screen. Van Hofwegen touching in a very comfortable lead at the 250 mark. Taliesin Glock turning second. McLean just off his shoulder, touches third quickest. Going up to the 330 mark, and Yang Hong of People's Republic of China, despite his very strong starts and good underwaters over the longer distance in the 400 free, it doesn't really count for much. Carl Forsman of Sweden, a champion of the 100 breaststroke, is going in lane 2 and touches now at 3:45.36. But on the opposite end of the pool, working his way into the last 100, is Van Hofwegen. The Dutch swimmer is looking to show that he's got the strength to really challenge for a big time in the final.
Well, he's really making a statement with his heat swim at the moment, and you can see that lead, it's extended even further. I do like what I've seen from Glock and McLean, though. They've just settled in and cruising, and I suspect doing what they need to do. There's 5 swimmers in heat 1 and 6 swimmers in heat 2, so the fastest 8 will go through to the final, and remembering that swimming 400 heat in the morning session followed by a final in the evening session, if you've got a packed program, is extremely taxing. So Van Hofwegen, while he wants to send a message to the rest of the field, I think that the local hope, Glock and McLean, know what they need, and they want to keep some in reserve, not just for the evening session, but for the rest of the program.
Oh, the crowd willing Taliesin Glock to finish ahead of McLean of New Zealand, who's finishing fairly strongly. He's got a little bit of a choppier stroke now as McLean. It just shortens and is looking for a little spurt speed, but the clear victor in this race is the 19-year-old who trains in Amersfoort in the Netherlands. Van Hofwegen touches well ahead of the next two, Glock and McLean. Going to the wall, will it be Glock or will it be McLean? It'll come down to the stroke here, and it's Glock just ahead of McLean, to the delight of the home faithful. But Van Hofwegen, an admirer of the great 100-meter sprinter Peter van den Hogenband, after whom the pool in Eindhoven is named, Hugi Temeni. To the wall comes Yang Hong, enforcement of Sweden, the 19-year-old who will be wanting to improve on a range of his strokes. The breaststroke is certainly his strongest. Very powerful swimmer, pull himself through the water with speed over the shorter distances, and the 400 freestyle is finding it a little too draining perhaps, but Van Hofwegen of Netherlands claims the victory in the opening heat in a very decent time, a 5:11.79. Hamish McLean touched third behind this man, Taliesin Glock. There is McLean. He's very pleased with his time. That's a big personal best for McLean, bettering his own personal best by 5 odd seconds, and a new Oceania record for the New Zealander. It turned into a bit of a race between Glock and McLean in the closing stages, but there was only one swimmer challenging for the title, or the first touch in the race, and the Dutch swimmer not disappointing. Van Hofwegen ahead of Glock, ahead of McLean. Yang and Forsman touch 4th and 5th. This is the second heat of the men's 400-meter freestyle S6. Bucciardi of Italy has been swimming consistently around about the 5-minute mark over the last year or so. He'll be challenged by the Cuban swimmer Lorenzo Perez Escalona. 2 Italian swimmers that go in this race, including Bucciardi of well, that's Harnapple of Australia. He'll go in lane 3. He'll separate the 2 Italian swimmers. Dolphin on the top lane 2, and Bucciardi going in 4. Perez Escalona of Cuba in 5. Luo of China in 6. And Naimin of Indonesia goes in lane 7. Now Bucciardi doesn't get much off the start. He starts from in the water, and it's Harnapple of Australia who gets a solid start, and Perez Escalona and Luo of People's Republic of China getting into their strokes fairly quickly. Luo going in lane 6 is leading by just a shade over Harnapple of Australia. But once Bucciardi comes into his stroke, he should be the swimmer to catch, and he'll be wanting to settle in the opening 100. Dolphin already struggling to keep up with the pace. He's around a minute slower over the 400 free than his Italian teammates, while Gaimin of Indonesia will be battling to keep pace with the remainder of the swimmers in the pool. He is last to touch at the 50-meter mark 46.43, but touching first on his inside was Luo of People's Republic of China, over 11 seconds quicker, and Luo showing a very strong opening 100 here.
Luo touching in at 35.50 for that first 50. Beautiful long stroke, a nice catch you can see gliding through the water, and it is Bocciardo who'll touch in second at the 100 metre mark. So that first 100 swum by Luo Jianbao in 1:14.42, about 3 seconds quicker than Bocciardo, and now the gap is starting to narrow just a little. The Italian athlete starting to make his move in this second 100 metres, and Harnapple from Australia staying in touch there along with Perez Escalona. So it's, when they touch at the 150 mark, going to be a little tighter on the clock. Luo Jianbao will still have the advantage, but it's narrowed considerably.
Bocciardi is the stronger of the swimmers over this distance. Luo will have to go significantly better than his best, and he's well ahead of his best time currently. But Bocciardi will apply pressure, and Perez Escalona, it's interesting to see him challenge more and more in the 400 as he's aging now into his 30s. He was a sprinter in his younger days, and the Cuban swimmer is starting to swim more of the longer distances. It used to be 50 and 100 frees that he would focus on, now starting to focus more on the 100 and the 400 frees. And a great swim he had at the Paralympic Games, winning gold. So the Cuban will fancy a place in the final, having missed out incidentally on the final in London, where he won silver and bronze in the 50 and 100 4 years ago. But Bocciardi now at the halfway mark has taken the lead and touches only 17/100ths of a second ahead of Luo at the halfway mark. So going up to the 250 split, that lead will increase. But Bocciardi is not so much swimming faster as Luo is starting to drop a little. He's nearly 4 seconds slower over 50 meters at the 200 mark than he was at the 100 mark.
So he took it out very strongly, but we always expected Bocciardi to make his move in the back end of the race, and he's doing just that, easily touching in first, 3:17.45 at the 250 mark. So about just under 2 seconds quicker than Luo Jianbao. So Luo has got his work cut out for him, but it's the Cuban swimmer Perez Escalona who looks to be enjoying himself very well. Beautiful, long, relaxed stroke. The tempo is quite moderate, really, and it's Bocciardo who's picked up the pace ever so slightly, but again, as we've said in the previous heats, just doing what's needed to make the final, knowing there's 6 in this heat, 5 in the previous. The top 8 go through, no semi-final, of course, and now at the 300 split, so 3:58.23 is the time for Bocciardi. And it's now Perez Escalano touching in second, so there's only about 2 seconds in between first and second, and Luo Jianbao touching in third position, just a second back again from the field.
Well, it is Perez Escalona who's looking to move up onto the shoulder now of Luo, while Bocciardi, the reigning world champion in this race, is not quite getting away, but he is going to take a good 2 body length lead into the 350 meter split. The Italian, who was reclassified after the London Games, used to swim S7, now swims S6, and is dominating in this event. Only made his international debut shortly before the Paralympic Games of 2012, and indeed the Cuban Perez Escalona has made his way beyond Luo Jianbao in the water. Bocciardi of Italy in control of this race, plenty energy in reserve. He's well past his personal best. He's a 5-minute swimmer, and he's got the ability to take a good few seconds off it. But we've got a race at the end here. Luo is wanting to touch second ahead of Perez, but it's Luo who gets there just ahead of Perez Escalona. Only 2/100ths of a second separate the Chinese swimmer from the Cuban swimmer. Easy for Bocciardi. Matthew Harnapple of Australia, the 22-year-old, touches 4th fastest overall of 5:36.09. So that'll be a into the final for Harnapple. The first 4 swimmers in this race guaranteed a place in the final. Bucciardi with a very easy race. He won't qualify faster than the swim by Van Hofwegen in the opening heat. It's dolphin touches now. And for Indonesia, Gaimin. Just 25 meters to go in the pool for Agus Gaimin, one of the world's most populous nations, Indonesia. Comes to the wall to touch 6th. Bucciardi applauds as the Indonesian finishes, but it's Bucciardi's race. The world champion will feel confident of becoming a Paralympic Games champion. Perez Escalona having just been touched down at the wall, 200ths of a second separated Perez Escalona from Luo, who touched for second. This is Luo, who is leading in the early stages, but then dropped off the pace. Bucciardi consistent in his splits and would touch first and qualify second fastest overall for the final. But at lane 5 for the final for Bucciardi after that 5:18.61. Bucciardi 2 odd seconds ahead of Luo Qingbiao of China, and Lorenzo Perez Escalona touching 3rd quickest. So how they qualify for the final, who advances? Van Hofwegen quickest. Bucciardi will challenge him for the gold. Luo and Perez Escalona, Taliesin Glock, Hamish McLean, all capable of medaling in this race. Harnapple and Yang of Australia and China will go in the outside lanes. So this is the opening heat of 2 in the women's 400 meter freestyle S6. Boyd, Bjornsdotter, Trejo, Simmons, Robinson, Lopez Gomez and Elish go in this race. Side by side, Ellie Robinson of Great Britain and Eleanor Simmons of Great Britain. Well, Robinson at 15, an enormous admirer of Simmons on her outside, and will be looking to take the race to her compatriot, somebody she's admired, looked up to, virtually idolized over the last 4 years. Ellie Simmons hits the front now inside the opening 50 and is not likely to relinquish this lead. Robinson will want to stay with her for as long as she can and expect a bit of a challenge from Trejo Delgadillo of Mexico, who touches 3rd quickest at the opening 50. It's going to be a little bit of a battle for the likes of Lopez of Mexico in lane 6, with Fanny Illich to contend. Riley Boyd will need to post a big PB if she's to do something from the outside lane, and Bjornsdotter, who's virtually unchallenged in Iceland, is going to have a far tougher time competing against the Great British pair who go in the centre lanes, Simmons and Robinson. And Simmons will be high on confidence, you imagine, after a very successful day 5.
Yes, again, one of the most successful and popular Paralympians from Great Britain, Ellie Simmons, and the crowd absolutely loves her here in Brazil as well at the Olympic Aquatic Stadium. And it's a little surprised with how quick the tempo was for that first 50, but all swimmers have settled nicely now, and we know that Ellie Simmons is just so strong in the back half of the race, and particularly that final 100. But interesting at the moment, Ellie Robinson, as you say, the young athlete who has idolised Ellie Simmons, is just sticking on her left shoulder at the moment. She's going to try and stick with her as long as she can, and she's doing a great job at the moment, the 15-year-old, as they go in to touch at the 150 mark. It's going to be Simmons, but not by a lot, perhaps about half a second or so. And Trejo Delgadillo in 3rd. It'll be Mexico in fourth, Lopez Gomez, and Illes from Hungary in fifth, Bornstotter in sixth, and Boit in seventh from the United States. We look through as the athletes come into the 200-metre split, and Simmons just opening up a body length there, so she's starting to make a move. Robinson trying to stay with Simmons, but it may just be a little too much for her. It looks as though Simmons is starting to make just a little of a statement here in the opening heat of this event.
Well, Eleanor Simmons, the 21-year-old, 4 gold medals in London 4 years ago. This is one of her signature events. This is a race that she knows she will have to swim particularly well in the final. She's much favoured and indeed not disappointing in the heats to touch quickest, although Robinson is really sticking on her left shoulder as she goes up towards the 250-metre split. But Simmons basically has dominated this event since 2009. That's Elizaveta Mareshko, who will go in the second heat of the women's 400 free S6. Has certainly come up over the last year and challenged Simmons' dominance. It's the two British swimmers who are well ahead of Trejo Delgadillo of Mexico. Over 9 seconds the lead between Simmons over Trejo Delgadillo, while Robinson just off the shoulder, a second on behind. So Robinson is swimming a smart race, but she also cannot find herself in a situation where she wears herself out. It's a demanding race, the 400 freestyle. It's large gap building between the two British swimmers and the Mexican swimmer. While at the moment it is Fanny Illich of Hungary who's looking to swim a big personal best going in lane 7, who is currently 4th overall. Lopez Gomez of Mexico goes in lane 6 on her inside. Riley Boit and Bjornsdotter have fallen off the pace by some margin. They're a good 50 metres behind Eleanor Simmons, who leads, ahead of Ellie Robinson of Great Britain.
So Simmons trying to open up a bit of a lead, but interestingly, Robinson really has been able to stick with her, and coming into the final turn, we're only slightly off the pace, and as you say, she's only 15 years of age, swimming in her first Paralympic Games, and the key is to perform well enough in the heats to get through to the final without completely burning out before the final is on later on day 6. A difficult event to back up, and we know that Simmons is such an experienced campaigner and her fitness is so good, she won't struggle at all with that. And we'll have to wait and see how Robinson, the younger of the athletes, goes through when the final time comes around. But a big gap between the two athletes from Great Britain and the next athlete from Mexico, Trejo Delgadillo.
Well, I think it's Simmons here just showing that she's got a lot of power and a lot more still to come. She can shift up a few gears if she wants to, just extending that advantage over Robinson. It's Simmons who touches first, glides to the wall, but now well ahead of Ellie Robinson, a 5:37.75. It's slow by Simmons' standards, but Ellie Robinson also not her quickest, a 5:41.04. Trejo Delgadillo comes in outside her personal best as well, a 5:56.01, but all will be saving energy. Fanny Illich, though, is swimming a very fast time. She goes 6:01 for the first time in her career and touches 4th fastest overall, with the Mexican Lopez Gomez touching 5th. But already a champion at 2016. Eleanor Simmons, gold in the 200 individual medley. Robinson already a champion as well. She took gold in 100 fly. Boit of the United States touches in lane 6 at 6:23, which is just outside her personal best. And Bjornsdotter, who's a 6-minute swimmer at her best, comes to the wall in 6:34. Very consistent splits from Ellie Simmons. 42 seconds all the way through the pool. And she touches in a very controlled 5:37.75. Trejo of Mexico with the 3rd fastest in that heat. From the opening 50, Simmons and Robinson pulled away. Trejo separated herself from the chasing swimmers and held on to third all the way, but in the end it was Simmons who just turned it on and sent a little message to Robinson saying, you might be the precocious young talent, but I am still the queen of this race. Simmons ahead of Robinson, ahead of Trejo. Illich with a big personal best, touches fourth fastest, and will fancy her chances for qualifying for the final. This is the second heat of two in the women's 400 Freestyle S6. We have the world record holder going in lane 4. You got Herzog, Romano, Savtsova, Mareshko, Song, Turner and Tofik, the Egyptian swimmer who goes in 7. There is the world record holder, Elizaveta Mareshko, the 24-year-old. Mareshko having beaten Simmons at the World Championships last year, but Simmons, of course, responding with a new world record in April, but Mareshko got it back in Portugal in May. 400 Freestyle S6. Second heat is underway. It's a good, strong start by the 14-year-old Turner again, who looks to go out hard. He needs to learn to just hold on a little better, or pace herself a little better. Victoria Savtsova has gone out very strong for Ukraine, while Mareshko just bides her time. She's in the pool significantly faster than Savtsova, while Romano of Italy is showing a little zeal and some great ambition. She touches third overall at the opening 50. At the moment, Song of People's Republic of China also just challenging Mareshko for a place, but at the turn it was Mareshko who came into her own and now is leading over Savtsova and Song. She had a great World Championships, did Mareshko, where she beat Simmons to the title. And after Simmons had broken her world record in April, Mareshko in Portugal came back with a new world record time of 5:14.69, bettering Simmons' 5:18. And Simmons is the defending champion, who will go in the final, no doubt, alongside Mareshko. Will be pushing Mareshko the entire way. This is one of the most eagerly anticipated races of Rio 2016 in the pool, the 400 Freestyle S6. Song Lingling of China still sits off the shoulder of Mareshko, a few body lengths behind, while Savtsova of Ukraine is holding in there, but it is one swimmer, Mareshko, who leads, and by a very substantial margin.
Yes, she's building and building through that 150, looks so comfortable, and that world record of 5:14.69 also doubles as her qualifying time for this event. And as you say, one of the most eagerly anticipated battles. We know in Heat 1, Simmons was swimming well outside her best. It'll be interesting to see what pace Mareshko decides to take, knowing that she has a huge task on her hands later on day 6 to swim the final, a few hours to rest and relax and rehydrate, perhaps an ice bath, try and recover as best as possible. Touching in at that 200-metre split at 2:39.97, easily ahead, in fact 7 seconds ahead of Song Lingling, who's swimming in lane 4, and Savtsova on 2:48.88 at the 200 split. Mareshko just looking so comfortable. She owns this race at the moment, and you can see why, and it really does shape up to be a mouth-watering battle later on day 6 to see how Simmons and Mareshko shape up as they round into the 250 split, and it's Mareshko all the way.
Well, I think Mareshko is wanting to try to make a clean sweep of the freestyle medals in this classification, S6, having already won the gold in the 50 free, the 100 still to come. And she also took gold in the 100 breaststroke, where she beat out Savtsova in one of Savtsova's favourite strokes, but certainly for the Ukrainian Mareshko, leads over her compatriot, and Song Ling Ling of the People's Republic of China currently positioned in second overall, the gold medalist in the 100 back herself. It is Mereshko who is laying down the marker here in the second heat and looking to qualify alongside the defending champion Eleanor Simmons with the quickest time posted in the first heat of this women's 400 meter freestyle S6. And at the moment she's on course to post the quickest qualifying time by some margin here, having touched at the 300 in under 4:11.
Yeah, it looks as though she will have lane 4 to herself going into the final. Song Ling Ling having a good swim though, a solid effort, and she'll post a pretty tidy time as well for the 400. So final 50 to go for Mereshko.
Well, Mereshko is going to bring this home in a very quick time. It's going to be outside her world record, but it's going to be well inside Simmons' qualifying time. And she will have the preferred lane draw, lane 4 for the final. Will Mereshko just sending a message to Simmons saying, anything you can do, I can do better. Mereshko still taking it very easily. There's no chase in her stroke at the moment, but she's going to come to the wall. Simmons touched in 5:37, she touches in 5:25. And Mereshko will have the lane 4 draw for the final. Song Ling Ling, already a 3-time medalist at Rio 2016, touches second quickest to 5:35, so the first two will go in lanes 4 and 5. Savtsova touches in 5:43.05, so slower than Robinson and Simmons. Coming home in lane 2 for Italy is Emanuele Romano, the 26-year-old, while Nicole Turner and Ayala Tufik have touched in lanes 6 and 7. Turner in a 5:51.99. She'll take that, her best time of the season. Herzog of the United States touches 7th for 6:17.93. Well, Mereshko over 400 meters in this freestyle race S6 classification. It's just gone 10 odd seconds slower than her own world record. Well, she was happy with her time. Now Mereshko qualifies quickest from the second heat and quickest overall, 5:25.27. Over 10 seconds ahead of Song Ling Ling and Victoria Savtsova. Qualifying overall, Turner will fancy advancing to the final. Indeed she does. She qualifies 6th fastest overall, but the battle for gold will be contested, you imagine, between Simmons, who's dominated this race, and the new world record holder Mereshko. Song Ling Ling and Ellie Robinson will want to challenge for medals. Savtsova and Turner might fancy themselves as outside bets.
We move on now to the men's 200 metres individual medley SM7 classification, and the ones to watch in this race: Matthew Levy from Australia, the fastest qualifier in 2:36.67. You can see the lineup there. Carlos Serrano Zarate from Colombia, 2:38.44 was his qualifying time. He'll swim in lane 5, as you see there. But running from 2 through to 6, we have Schurman from Germany, Polyp from Germany. So the two Germans in 2 and 3, Levy, Serrano Zarate, Taras from Italy, and Sinovic from Croatia. The world record holder, Evgeny Bogodayko, to swim in heat 2 of this event. So 6 swimmers in each heat. The fastest 8 will go through. Levy, the 29-year-old, 4th in the 50-metre freestyle final, bronze in this event in London, medals in free and back in London and Beijing. So expect a very strong freestyle leg from Levy, swimming in 4. Well, it was a good start from Taras in lane 6 as they move into the butterfly leg. So one of the most grueling events of any swim meet is the 200 metres IM, combining 50 metres of each stroke, and he's taken it out well. Serrano Zarate from Colombia, very strong fly swimmer. He's going to touch at the wall first after the first 50 metres. Closely followed by Polyp from Germany. He's swimming well in lane 3. Levy will touch in third at the first turn. Serrano Zarate into the back, so backstroke leg, 50 metres here, and he's just got the edge at the moment, although it is evening up across the field. Levy staying in touch and appears to be making his move. We know he's medalled in backstroke at Paralympic level, and he's showing why, very strong in this stroke.
Well, I think Serrano just wants to give himself a chance. He's strong in the freestyle sprints, but his breaststroke is ultimately his best stroke, and if he can stay in touch, he'll fancy his chances. Levy of Australia, though, looking very strong at the moment, while, as you say, Germany's Polyp just losing a little here on the backstroke, but is still in contention over the last 100 metres, which will see the breaststroke and then the 50 free to end. It is Taras of Italy who touches third quickest overall, but Serrano, watch his breaststroke. Very smooth stroke in the breast, and he will hit the front almost certainly at the 150 mark. He will be in front. The question is who will be able to catch him. Has Levy got enough in the freestyle to catch him? Very good sprinter over the 50 free as well as Serrano, but if he's in front at the 150 mark, it's very difficult to catch him. Polyp of Germany is showing his strength in the breaststroke after losing a little in the backstroke, and now almost comes up onto the shoulder of Levy, while the Italian Taras is still within striking distance of finishing second. But right now, Serrano's breaststroke is a class of his own, and he touches 202.8. He's going to be well outside world record or Paralympic record time here, Carlos Serrano, but he's not going to be caught.
No, he's not. Serrano looking really good going into that turn, got a great push off the wall, and now look at this. Gee, he's opened up at least 2 body lengths, possibly more over the rest of the field. Levy and Polyp dueling it out for second position in this heat, but it's going to be Serrano all the way. That breaststroke leg set him up beautifully for this qualification round, and he'll easily touch in the wall first in this heat, so 240.58. Well off the record pace, but Levy touching in second, just ahead of Polyp in third. The battle was on for the second position. There wasn't much in it in the end, actually, just 0.14 of a second. So we've seen that a little in the heats. Just a little bit of a push there right at the end, 15 metres or so, just trying to make a statement heading into the qualification round. So Serrano Zarate, 2 minutes 40.58 is the mark there, the early benchmark. Finishing ahead, 6 seconds ahead of Levy, 2:46.04. So it was quite even across the butterfly leg at the first turn. Serrano Zarate really made his move with that beautiful breaststroke leg, and we've seen that be, in the majority of the heats, the telling leg, that breaststroke leg, such a technically difficult stroke.
Well, Polyp is a competent breaststroker. He did 49. Serrano did 45 over that 50-meter breaststroke.
So the final lineup there, it'll be Colombia, Australia, Germany take the top 3 in heat 1, with still another heat to come. It appears we have a disqualification from Schurman, the German athlete, who was swimming in lane 2. So we move on to heat 2 of the men's 200 metres individual medley SM7 classification, and it is the world record, Paralympic record holder, the defending Paralympic champion, who's won medals in backstroke, breaststroke and fly, would you believe? So he is the ultimate all-round athlete, 6 medals in London, Evgeny Bogdaikos. Swimming in lane 4. See his records on screen there. So the lineup is in lane 2, Ponce Bertrand from Spain, Wang Jinyang from China in 2, Bogadaiko in 4, 3 for Wang, 4 for Bogadaiko, 5 for Garcia Tolson, Bjornstad in 6 from Norway, and Suyash Narayan from Indonesia in 7. Well, it was a great start for the Indonesian in lane 7, would you believe? He's still under the water, breaks water now into the butterfly leg, but it is lane 2 at the moment. Wang Jinyang laying down an early challenge. Wang loves the freestyle as well, but very strong butterfly athlete, 25 years of age. He was the bronze medalist in London in the butterfly, so we expect this strong leg from him. But Bogadaiko is the one who's making the move in the final 15. He'll touch in at the first 50 split, leading the field, not by a huge margin though. Swimming on his left shoulder was Garcia Tolson from the United States. Had a very tidy butterfly leg there. So 1, 2 and 3 is Bogadaiko, Wang and Garcia Tolson heading into the backstroke. And rounding out the field, Taras Sinovic. So the 5 swimmers. So rounding out the field was Bjornstad, Suyash Narayan and Ponce Bertrand, touched in 6th as we're going to the 100-metre mark. And again, Garcia Tolson made a nice move in that one in the 50 back, a strong backstroke leg from him.
Yeah, Garcia Tolson, the other thing about Garcia Tolson is just the amount of energy he has, the aerobic capabilities that he has. Bear in mind, he's a multiple medalist at the World Championships for both swimming and athletics. He's an all-round para-athlete, is Garcia Tolson, in every conceivable way. Bogadaiko, yes, is the defending champion, but Garcia Tolson, bear in mind, had won gold in 2004, gold in 2008. Remember when he won his first World Championship title as far back as 10 years ago in Durban at the 2006. I mean, he's somebody who's been for a dozen years dominating this event. Bogadaiko is the emerging talent, so to speak. Over the last 4 years he's come into his own, but in the last 50 it'll be a shootout between these two to see who claims the victory, between the two who must be gold medal favourites for the final. Don't discount Serrano, of course, who claimed the opening heat victory, but indeed Garcia Tolson and Bogadaiko are the class acts when it comes to this event.
Well, certainly it is setting the scene for a very, very interesting final later on day 6. But at the moment it will be Garcia Tolson who will touch in first in this qualifying heat in a very respectable time, well off record pace, but will touch in at 2:43.26. And Bogadaiko, the reigning champion, Paralympic champion, second in 2:44.89. Wang Jinyang had a great swim, 2:49.56, followed by Bjornstad, 2:50.76, and Ponce Bertrand not far off, 2:56.60, and the Indonesian swimmer Suyash Narayan rounding out the field at 3:01.05. So Garcia Tolson showing he's still in the hunt for a medal in the men's 200 metres individual medley SM7. It's a strong butterfly leg. There wasn't a lot separating the top 3 swimmers. The backstroke proved a little more telling.
It did indeed, but I think the other thing is Garcia Tolson has the better turn. He might not always have the better speed in the water, but Garcia Tolson, what does he always say? A brave heart is a powerful weapon, and he continues to show it a dozen years on from first starting to compete internationally.
So Garcia Tolson's time a little slower than Serrano Zarate heading into the final. But we'll give you confirmation of the finalists to be swum later on day 6. So Serrano Zarate will swim in lane 4, Garcia Tolson in 5, and then Bogadaiko, Levy, Hollop, Taras, Wang Jinyang and Bjornstad, rounding out that field of the top 8. as we move on now to the women's 200 metres individual medley SM7 classification. And an interesting heat one for you here. Langhill, Mihane, Routliffe, Keeling Ting from China, Talamona, and Rollo Marchal from Spain. Routliffe was 4th in the breaststroke final, 17 years of age, and silver in this event at the World Championships. And Keeling Ting, gold in the 100 metres backstroke, 20 years of age, so we can expect a strong start. We've seen these Chinese athletes so proficient in the backstroke and taking races out hard. Mihane as well, swimming in lane 3, and she got off to a great start. She's also very strong in the free and breast, so she's taken out the butterfly hard though as well. So she's swimming 6 events at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games, so leading out the butterfly at this stage, and it'll be Mihane who will touch in at the wall first. Not a huge advantage at this stage. Routliffe from Canada in lane 3, just staying just off her left shoulder at the moment. So Mihane with the early advantage, 37.84 for the first 50 butterfly. Routliffe from Canada, 40.03 at the first split. Settling into the backstroke. Expect the Chinese athlete Keeling Ting to make her move here. She is stroking strongly, although Mihane holding form at this stage, and it's going to be a very close touch in at the 100 split.
I like the way Mihane is swimming at the moment, but does need to try to turn it on just a little in the backstroke. She's been improving her backstroke and has actually entered the 100 breaststroke at these games. Failed to qualify for the final, however, only finished 5th in her heat, and that might be the area where she loses it, Mihane. But Routliffe is looking good as well, and Keeling Ting has actually touched first. But Mihane is stronger on the turns. Keeling Ting of People's Republic of China, just on the nearest to your screen, and the 2 Canadians going neck and neck. A shorter, choppier stroke from Tess Routliffe. Mihane very deliberate in the stroke, desperately trying to keep pace, but Routliffe is showing some strength in the water and is surging into a substantial lead with 25 to go in the breaststroke. Keeling Ting is not making up too much on Mihane, but Mihane will wear herself out just a little if she tries to keep up with the pace. Once she turns into the freestyle, we'll feel a little more comfortable though, but it is Routliffe of Canada who will turn at the 150 in the lead.
Well, we did expect that from Routliffe. We know that she's a very strong breaststroker, but has set herself up very nicely for the final 53. About 3 body lengths in front of her nearest rivals in her teammate Mihane and Keeling Ting from China. So very close in the second position for this heat, but easily Routliffe out in front. She's extended her lead even further. She's having a great freestyle leg here. I suspect the 2 swimmers trailing her retiring. And down in lane 6, Talamona's also having a fantastic swim, finishing really strongly, but easily touching in at the wall is Routliffe from Canada. So setting a tone for the final. It'll be the Chinese swimmer to touch in second. So that qualifying time for the final, 3:04.87. Mihane will touch in third. 4th to Talamona, who finished the back end of that race extremely well. As we wait for the final 2 athletes to come in, it'll be Langhill from Canada as well. So 3 Canadians in this heat, and touching in just ahead will be Rollo Marchal from Spain. So they will have to wait and see whether their times will be quick enough after the second heat is swum. So Tess Routliffe from Canada, the fastest qualifier from heat 1. Swimming almost on par with her qualifying time. She swum that in 3:04.87. Qualifying time was only marginally faster, putting herself in a good position for the final. Still well outside record time. Such a strong free leg, that final 50. She touched in the wall with a good advantage and then just built on that slightly, particularly in the final 25 metres. So she'll have to be feeling very confident going into the final, in great form and obviously showing great conditioning.
Well, yeah, I think the two Canadians certainly have the pace there, but Kaylee Ting, if she can hit the backstroke out hard, bear in mind she's the world record holder over the 50-metre backstroke, and she's indeed the gold medalist in the 100 backstroke. She'll be wanting to set up a really positive race with a good hard back. Doesn't quite have the kick of the freestyle and will need to hold on in the breast, but Ratliff looking good to follow up her silver at the World Championships last year with a medal at least, the 200 IM at the Paralympic Games. Officials are just having a little discussion here. We might have a concern over one of the swimmers. So, for the visuals of the Chinese swimmer Kaylee Ting, and indeed the officials are just looking at a turn. Kaylee Ting with a little nod at something and then walking back to...
No, it looks as though she's been disqualified from that heat. So she finished third but will be knocked out of the final.
Wow. 3 Canadians in the race. Ratliff and Mihane finished top 2. Kaylee Ting touched second quickest, but will not advance to the final, DQ'd.
Well, we move on to the women's 200 metres individual medley, SM7, and that big cheer you can hear was for the Brazilian swimmer, Almeida, swimming in lane 6. Bronze in Beijing in the butterfly. Expect her to take it out quickly. 41 years of age. We have Mäkinen from Finland, Jang, Howarth, Jordan, Almeida and Raksko from Hungary swimming in 7th. So Jang in 3, 25 years of age, 5th at the Worlds in this event. Strong backstroker again. We've seen the Chinese backstrokers so good. That was Nikita Howarth getting the best of the starts there from New Zealand. And in fact, she's settled into her butterfly leg brilliantly. Courtney Jordan, we know, has shown such great form at these games. She's sitting just off her left shoulder, taking it to her in the butterfly leg, it has to be said. In fact, her second 25 of the butterfly has been extremely strong. I think it'll be Howarth that will touch in first, but not by much, because Jordan has had a fantastic second half of that butterfly leg after, it's fair to say, a pretty sluggish start off the blocks. It was a great start by Howarth, and now they're matched, but expect the Chinese swimmer Zhang Ying to make a move here on the backstroke. Again, we're seeing these Chinese swimmers so strong in the backstroke leg, strong in the backstroke across all the individual stroke events, but particularly when the combination of the medley comes up, they really are able to make up a substantial portion of the pool. But again, it's Howarth and Jordan. Jordan, the 25-year-old, we know she's an all-round athlete, gold and silver in London and bronze in this event in London. So she'll be hoping to get through in a good time, swim in one of the favoured lanes as they touch in at the 100-metre split. And it'll be Howarth, 1:23.97. ahead of Jordan, 1:24.26, so just over a second gap at the moment. The crucial breaststroke leg, we're seeing Howarth just pull in front and building a lead. So Jordan had managed to stick with her, but now is falling well off the pace.
Well, one of the great things about Nikita Howarth, she's only 17 years old, but what she does do is A, she went to the last Paralympic Games when she became New Zealand's youngest ever Paralympian, and B, she's got Cameron Leslie as an international teammate. And Cameron Leslie, of course, has dominated. He's won the last 3 Paralympic Games. He's dominated for a decade in the 150 individual medley, and she's able to draw on his experience and his expertise and advice, and has got the likes of Mary Fisher and Sophie Pascoe, multiple medalists, to draw on for experience, and that's showing here, it's proving here, and she's showing why she's been able to dominate in the last 3 or 4 years in this 200 individual medley. She's just going from strength to strength, and another impressive display in the pool, well off her best, but she's going to post a good enough time to see her comfortably through to the final.
Well, the last 75 of this race have been absolutely brilliant for the 17-year-old, and as you say, she has shown huge improvement. Just her second Paralympic Games, the only qualifying time under 3 minutes, and she made the 100 metres backstroke final. She'll easily make the women's 200 metres individual medley final for the SM7. And she's swum under 3 minutes again, so a big difference between the qualifying time for this heat and the previous heat. So 2:58.82 is the time that she's swum to make it into lane 4 for the final. And Jordan taking second in this heat, Zhang in third. The big the big cheers for Veronica Almeida, the 41-year-old. And wouldn't the Brazilian crowd love to see her in the final later on day 6?
They would dearly love to see Veronica Almeida. Also is a very, very popular figure in Brazil, the 41-year-old from Salvador.
So Almeida finished in 4th position in that heat. We'll just have to wait for final confirmation on the times and then the confirmation of standings for that final lineup later on day 6. But Courtney Jordan there on your screen, pleased with herself. She's done what she needed to do, and then Zhang Ying from China as well. But it did belong to Howarth, really. I mean, she's just showing such strength and endurance over that final section of the race. The final 75 was extremely telling, the form she's in, and a huge improver over the last 4 years, and still just so young. And a lot to be said, as you say, about the culture of the New Zealand swim team, mixing with other high-performing athletes and learning to enjoy performing on the big stage. And we have another disqualification there. So Mäkinen from Finland will not have a chance to have her time assessed as to whether it's in the top 8 for the final. Let's take a look at the final lineup here, and the Brazilians will be very happy. Veronica Almeida has qualified 7th fastest. So Howarth will swim from 4 and Routliffe from 5.
This is the men's 100 freestyle S10. South Africa's Ahmad Hasib, known as Shark Boy after losing the lower part of his right leg by a great white shark while he was training to be a lifesaver. Swimming to watch, though, is Maxim Kripak of the Ukraine. Going alongside him, though, is Rowan Carruthers, the Commonwealth Games champion. Lest we forget, he won gold in the 100 free S9 in world record time at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow back in 2014. But Kripak of the Ukraine is going particularly strongly here. It's a very, very fast race out. Kripak will turn first with Carruthers behind him. Levesque of Spain and Elliott of Canada touch next. Fastest Hassim of South Africa, 28.29 at the 50. The oldest of the competitors in this field is Hassim, but Carruthers trying to keep on the shoulder of Kripak, but Kripak is just storming to a victory here, and he's going to go a very fast time. It's going to be outside a world record time, but it's going to be inside his best of the season, a 51.52. Carruthers is going to need to swim close to Andre Brazil's world record if he is to get into the medals here. There are several contenders for medals over this men's 100 freestyle. But Crothers touches second for Australia. Kripak of Ukraine is quickest. European record for the Ukrainian, 51.52. So a very fast time from Maxim Kripak. Shot out with a great deal of strength and power in the water, reached the 50, good on the turn. And will take confidence from his European record swimmer, 51.52. This is going to be an intriguing race come final time. Kripak, Crothers. The second heat of 3 in the men's 100 freestyle S10. Dutra, Takken, Van der Voort, Rodriguez, Dubrov, Vanchenko, Menciotti. Felipe Rodriguez, one of the few swimmers who's been able to beat Andre Brazil over the last decade before the emergence of Dubrov and Kripak of the Ukraine over the last 18 months or so. But Felipe Rodriguez, a very popular figure in Brazil, goes in 4, Dubrov in 5 on his outside. So, swimming for the pride of the host nation, Dubrov's underwater is better despite the better start and the quicker reaction time from Rodriguez. Van der Voort slow off the blocks and is battling to find his stroke in the water, while Vanchenko of the Ukraine goes in 6th, is just looking to hold off the shoulder of Dubrov. Rodriguez at the moment, though, is not allowing Dubrov to come into this race at all.
No, he is not, and geez, that was a very fast first 50, 24.44. Rodriguez touching in, but only just ahead of Dubrov, 24.89.
So Rodriguez is holding on here after a good solid turn, but Dubrov could turn it on at the end, and Dubrov will be saving some energy for the final. He'll be wanting to push for the final. Looks to be just catching Rodriguez in the closing stages here. It's a battle for pride between Brazil and Ukraine, and Dubrov is going to take it. He's finishing fastest on the stroke. He gets the touch ahead of Rodriguez. They're well ahead of any other swimmer in the pool. Vanchenko and Van der Voort managed to touch in a dead heat for third place. But what a swim between Rodriguez and Dubrov, as he swims at 51.76, slower than Maxim Kripak. You just get a sense from Dubrov that he's got plenty left again, and that he will be fancying himself for yet another gold medal in the pool at Rio 2016.
Well, there was nothing in it when they touched into the first 50. It was a great push off the wall by Dubrov, and it really set him up well for that final 50. But look at that, stroke for stroke. And the smallest of margins there. Very close finish indeed. But Dubrov really laying down the gauntlet, qualifying fastest from heat 2.
Two-time gold medalist at Rio 2016 already. Dubrov has finished ahead of Rodriguez by 0.2 of a second. Van der Voort and Vanchenko tie for third in that race. The third heat of 3 in the men's 100 freestyle S10. Andre Brazil, the world record holder, goes in 4. Anderson of Denmark and Australia, alongside Guy Harrison Murray of Australia. Andre Brazil, the world record holder, goes in 4 and is in your screen. Nathan Stein alongside him on his outside. And Buckley of Canada goes in 6. Taya Dutcher of the United States goes in lane 7. Andre Brazil. A decent start, very slow reaction time from Ty Dutcher going in lane 8. The quickest off the blocks, though, arguably was Brazil, with Buckley perhaps next quickest, but it's Brazil into his stroke. Stein is trying to hold on his left shoulder for now. Harrison Murray of Australia is looking good going in lane 3, and those three will take it to the line. In fact, Harrison Murray looks like he's just hit the front.
He does indeed, a 25.46 first 50. Stain was next on 25.95. Brazil touching in third. There's nothing in it, although the Australian Harrison Murray swimming very strongly. Let's see what kick he's got in his final 25. It's almost even across the pool. 3 across Brazil, Harrison Murray and Stain as we round into the final 15.
Well, Brazil is trying to show that he is the defending champion and is going to finish just ahead, just cuts between the two swimmers on his outside. Brazil touches ahead of Stein and Harrison Murray. So Brazil bringing a little joy to the home fans, to the home faithful. And Harrison Murray puts his arm around the vastly more experienced Brazilian, the multiple champion, the world record holder. Nathan Stein, a very strong race from lane 5. And Michael Anderson congratulates his compatriots, 10 years his junior, Guy Harrison Murray of Australia, who touched third fastest, but basically 0.2 of a second slower than the winner overall.
Yeah, it was really close, a lot slower that heat though, interestingly, 54.53 for the 100. And Dubrov swum a 51.76, 51.52 for pre-pack.
So how they finish, Harrison Murray might be third fastest in this heat, but it is a slower heat. Brazil and Stein should qualify with their times, but I think Harrison Murray has missed out on a place in the final. Buckley, Anderson, Dutcher and Anderson of Denmark certainly won't advance. But there is going to be a battle for pride between Ukraine and Brazil. 3 Ukrainians, 2 Brazilians, an Australian, a Canadian and a Dutch swimmer who qualify for the final of the men's 100 Freestyle S10. Dubrov is going to be swimming in lane 5. Kripak will go in lane 4. Going in lane 3 will be Rodriguez, and going in lane 2 will be Brazil. They'll be all lined up in a row with the Commonwealth champion Carruthers looking to upset the Ukrainian and Brazilians. It's the first heat of 3 in the women's 100 Freestyle S10. It is Airi Ike, who turned 18 yesterday, representing Japan, going in lane 2. Cristino, Lorandi, Chen, Roulet and Mokore of the Faroe Islands. Getting away very quickly in lane 5 was Chen Yi of China. A little bit of pace in the water though for the Chinese swimmer. She's really found her rhythm very early on here. And now looking to make up a little ground is Elodie Lorandi. She's a 101 swimmer at her best. The Paralympic record is just outside the 1 minute mark. The Vars world record stands at 59.17. A turn at the wall sees Lorandi touch just ahead of Chen Yi. But at the moment, it is the French swimmer on the turn who just has it ahead of Cristina Zapata of Mexico and Chen Yi of China. But it is Lorandi who will bring this home. She's just edged in front now after failing to quite find her stroke in the opening stages, just extending her advantage towards the wall as Chen Yi and Lorandi do pull away from Cristino. It's Lorandi who touches first. A 102.24. Chen Yi touches second, a 102.79 and 103.44 for the Mexican swimmer Cristino Zapata. Birthday girl yesterday, Ike only posting a 106.3. But Lorandi, a little smile, she's got plenty left for the final. The only swimmer from the Faroe Islands, Mr. Mokore, the 18-year-old, touches in a 112.34. Didn't have the best start over the opening 25, but the last 75 belonged to the French woman.
Well, it was Chen Yi from China who took it out so hard in that first 50. It just took Lorandi a little to find her rhythm and, as you say, a little sluggish off the blocks, and was able to really find her backhand power there. So Lorandi will go through the fastest, 102.24.
Generally very slow off the blocks, and that's why not the greatest of the 50 freestyle swimmers, but the 100 is certainly Lorandi's event. Some Mexican support for Cristina Zapata, who is just in the pool. Second heat of 3 in the women's 100 Freestyle S10. This sees Alice Tai go in lane 3, Sophie Pascoe go in 4, and Lisa Krieger go in 5, but also Brazilian swimmer Ribeiro going in 6. So Hernandez, Tai, Pascoe, Krieger, Ribeiro and Leonhardt go in lanes 2 to 7. 6 swimmers in the pool. Gold medalist of 4 years ago in her 5th event of 5, the world record holder, formerly, having had a record broken by Aurélie Rivard. The friendly rivalry to continue between Pascoe and Rivard. Pascoe won the 100 back in the 200 IM, and then of course the 100 fly in successive days. Pascoe gets off very quickly. Ribeiro didn't do too badly off the start, his blocks, while Alice Tai looked pretty good while taking off. She just 17 years old, the 100 backstroke medalist, is failing to get into a stroke. It's all about Sophie Pascoe and some pressure from Krieger of the Netherlands. Ribeiro is still looking really good, going in lane 6, and she's currently 3rd overall. Making a challenge in lane 1 is the Spaniard Hernandez, but Pascoe will be first to touch at the 50.
Well, it is about Pascoe. Would you believe she's opening up a half body length lead despite that challenge from Kruger, who's now sitting on her just off her right shoulder, and it is up in lane 2 for Hernandez. Santos as well is having a great swim as they finish on the final 25. Pascoe will be in front. She should do this easily, but it's going to be pretty even across the field for second place in this heat. Well,
Pascoe is going to touch ahead of Krieger and Ribeiro possibly for 3rd, but it is Sophie Pascoe looking for her 4th gold medal in 4 days, and has posted a quick time, a 1:01.54 in the heats, and if not the quickest, should be among the top 2 quickest to qualify overall for the final of the women's 100 freestyle. Pascoe wins the second heat ahead of Krieger, with Ribeiro of Brazil touching 3rd fastest. Alice Tai, a 1:04.32, good enough for 4th overall, and Hernandez Santos of Spain, a 1:05.03, not likely to make the final with a 1:05. But Pascoe, she doesn't always have the fastest starts, and she will know that. She'll be aware of it, but she'll believe that she has the quality in the back end to challenge any swimmer in the pool in this classification for the gold medal over 100, and certainly any of the longer distances, including the very taxing, challenging 200 individual medley. But it's all about recovery now for Pascoe. Sophie Pascoe quickest in her last event of Rio 2016. 3-time medalist here already. Pascoe touches ahead of Krieger, ahead of Ribeiro. Third and final heat of the women's 100 Freestyle S10. The world record holder goes in lane 4. 2008 100-meter backstroke gold medalist Shireen Sapiro goes in lane 1. Elina Watts of Sweden goes in 2. Chantal Zederveld of Netherlands in 3. Aurélie Rivard, the 50 free champion, goes in 4. She's the world record holder as well. Maria Oosterhuis of the Netherlands goes in 5. Monique Murphy of Australia in 6. And Samantha Ryan of Canada goes in 7. There is the world record holder, the 20-year-old Rivard. What mark will Rivard lay down in the third and final heat of the women's 100 Freestyle S10? Rivard gets off to the quickest start of the blocks, bar Monique Murphy going in 6 for Australia, but Murphy in the stroke unable to quite keep any rhythm. Oosterhuis is looking good, so too Zederveld, so the 2 Dutch swimmers flanking the Canadian Rivard in the middle, but it is the Canadian who leads, and unsurprising in an event she's dominated in recent years.
Well, she looks just so comfortable, and as if she just is in that right place to be at the leader of the field. 29.13 was the touch at the 50, split 30.18 is Zederveld and 30.34 by Oosterhuis. So not much in across the rest of the field, but it's easily Rivard, who's leading home the field, the final 25. She's increasing her lead, just showing such strength in that back 50.
Just a little push, yes. She's going to be off her world record pace, so just outside the 1 minute mark, maybe even going under the 1 minute here. It's a fast close, and she does go under 1 minute mark. A Paralympic record, 59.89. Pasco's Paralympic record goes. Zuiderveld and Oosterhuis, the two Dutch swimmers, touch on the outside of the Canadian. But Canada will fancy a gold in this event. The 50 free champion looking good in the 100 free. But do you sense the friendly rivalry continuing in this 100 free? Whoa, Sophie Pasco, watch out. So Pasco swam in the second heat and won comfortably. The Dutch swimmers, Zuiderveld and that's Oosterhuis. On her outside, but Rivard was the swimmer to catch. There was an attempt, but ultimately no success. Rivard, strong off the block, strong off the turn, fantastic in the water. And in this classification, there is only one swimmer that can challenge her, and that is Sophie Pasco. But Pasco has just seen her own Paralympic record broken by Rivard. The world record holder does not disappoint. The only sub-60-second swimmer in the 100 freestyle heats. S10. Rivard qualifies quickest. Oosterhuis and Zuiderveld of the Netherlands touching second and third in the heat. But Zuiderveld's time is not quick enough to even advance to the final. She misses out. Oosterhuis will advance with Krieger of the Netherlands. They will have two swimmers in the final. Mexico will have Cristina Zapata just qualify. Ribeiro will represent Brazil. Chen Yi for China. Lorandi gold in the 400 free in London, but Pasco and Rivard will continue their rivalry in the event.
Moving on to the men's 100 metres breaststroke S11 category for vision impaired swimmers. Must swim with blackened goggles, and that'll be checked after the heat is swum. But we have Yang Bozun, the fastest qualifier, of course, in this heat, the defending Paralympic champion, world record and Paralympic record holder at 1:10.11 set at the London Games. He's swimming in 4. We've got Urbano Herrera in 3, Yang in 4, Maschenko in 5. He's another one to watch, and Ortega from Cuba in 6, the 26-year-old. But Yang already showing such great form. And it was Ortega who was the best off the blocks there, but early on, Yang already showing why he is the athlete to beat in this 100 metres breaststroke SB11 category. Opening up an early lead, half a body length, but it's Maschenko's just sticking on his left shoulder there. He'll stay in touch with him as best he can for this first 50. We know that Yang likes to take it out hard. The tapper's ready to come down, and Yang Bozun easily touching in at the wall first. 32.59, the 50 metre split. But although Maschenko is taking it to him, he's certainly staying in touch and just pushing him a little in this second 50.
Yeah, I like to see this competition. Yang does like to take it out hard, but he also knows that he's not quite in the at the fitness levels he was in London 4 years ago. He hasn't been training the way he was. He's been working a full-time job as a teacher, so does need to conserve a little energy, and he'll hope to take it into the final.
It does look as though his cap's about to slide off as well, an unwelcome distraction. So it will be Maschenko who will go through the quickest. As you say, Yang Bozun not training as hard and as much as he was. Urbano Herrera in 3 to qualify third fastest, and Ortega 1:25.73. So Maschenko 1:13.75, the fastest qualifier from heat 1. We have 5 swimmers still to come, so the top 8 going through to the final. So 1:13.75, the quickest qualifying time so far, and 1:15.17 swum by the champion, Yang Bozun.
Oh, he is the world record holder as well, Yang Bozun, but hasn't been able to come within even a second of that world record that he set some 4 years ago now, since he's returned to the pool to train. Yang Bozun he'll just be wanting to qualify, focus on qualifying, and he's done that with a competent swim here. Bronze medalist in the 53. The tapper coming down on back of Moschenko, just to indicate to the swimmer that he's approaching the wall. Yang Bozun touching second fastest, the defending champion.
So the official qualification times you can see there on your screen. So it's Moschenko, Yang Bozun, Urbano Herrera and Ortega. Ortega will have to wait and see whether his time is quick enough, the Cuban, to make it through to the final 8 of the SB11 rather, 100 metres breaststroke final later on day 6 as we prepare for heat 2 of the men's 100 metres breaststroke SB11, and Drake will be swimming in lane 4 from the USA. He's 23 years of age, already has a silver across 4 events in Rio, so having a fantastic swim meet here. And Kimura, the Japanese athlete, will swim in lane 5, so it's Drake in 4. 3 is Smirnov from Ukraine, the Ukrainian swimmers having such success at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. It was Drake who's been the quickest qualifier across both heats of this event. He swam a 1:10.85 and Kimura 1:12.88 going into this event. And confirmation again, you can see on your screen, just a reminder, the world record 1:10.11. So Drake, we know, is capable of swimming very, very close to world record mark. And already with a silver medal in the freestyle, so we know he's a cross-discipline swimmer in the S11 category. Mathematics student, 23 years of age, and Kimura on your screen there, 26 years of age, already has a silver medal in the 50 metres free and silver in this event in London, along with the butterfly, where he had a bronze in the 100 metres. So we know he's strong across the 100 metres discipline. Well, it was an even start there as Kimura had the best of it really, and he broke water first, and he's just half a body length in front of Drake at the moment, but up in lanes 2 and 3, Smirka and Smirnov swimming very strongly, but it looks as though it'll be Kimura who has the fastest 50 in this heat. He should touch in ahead of Drake, but Drake sticking with him just on his right-hand shoulder.
Well, indeed, this is Kimura's race. He'll believe that he's got the ability to go on and push for the Paralympic gold after winning the world title. Keiichi Kimura of Japan is not disappointing, touches the wall at 33.87. Aaron Drake at 35.3, touches second fastest. And Smirnov of the Ukraine is still in this race at 36.21, but he'll need to quicken it up at the back end to get at least decent lane draw for the final. Smirta going in the high lane for Czech Republic. Also one of the elder swimmers, you might call him, at 52. Former representative for Czechoslovakia in years gone by. But this is good from the Japanese swimmer.
It is indeed, and he's going to be well off record pace, but he should qualify quicker. 1:15.05, it's not quite the mark set by Moschenko, but he'll qualify second fastest, so he'll swim from lane 5 in the final, and he'd have to fancy his chances for the gold. He looks as though he didn't really extend himself over that last 25 metres. He knew things were looking pretty good and trying to keep some in the tank for the final in the later session, and knowing of course that Yang Bozun is not in the peak form of his career, he would have to think that the gold medal is a very realistic prospect for Japan later on day 6.
Well, this is his event. Keiichi Kimura at the last 2 World Championships, he hasn't necessarily gone in his favourite, certainly not in Montreal, and he came out with the gold medal on that occasion. He was among the contenders for gold in Glasgow, and he won the gold. So defended his World Championship title, now to bring some success to the Paralympic Games, where the likes of Moschenko and Yang have managed to claim golds in years gone by, but still nothing for a man who finished second in London 4 years ago in this event. Is this his year?
Well, he would certainly hope so. It was a very promising swim, at least. You could tell he wasn't pushing himself too hard, knowing that he needed to conserve just a little energy, because Mashenko will almost certainly be the man to beat in the final later on day 6. As the swimmers are led away from the pool, there'll be the final checks, and then it's all about preparations for this evening. Bit of food, plenty of hydration. The Japanese fans having a fantastic time. Kimura supporters. So there we have the final confirmation. So it was a 1:15.05 for Kimura, and Mashenko swam a 1:13.75. So if we look to the final standings, it'll be Mashenko swimming in 4, Kimura in 5. Yang Bozun was the 3rd fastest qualifier, so good effort for a man not in peak form. Drake, Smirnov, Urbano, Herrera, Smirka and Ortega rounding out the top 8 for the men's 100 metres breaststroke SB11. So we move to the men's 100 metres breaststroke SB12 classification. 2 heats we have, and 11 athletes across both. The fastest 8 will go through. If we look at the lineup there, Cuesta Martinez in 2, Klippert in 3, Izotau from Belarus, the Paralympic record holder, in 4, silver in London, 28 years of age, had bronze in Beijing, world champion in 2015. Baraksa from Ukraine in 5, and Siorap from Romania in 6. Baraksa, triple gold medalist in London, 4 golds in Beijing, including in this event, 32 years of age. Such a strong competitor, such longevity in his career.
Izotau of Belarus taking it out very hard here at the 25-meter mark. He is leading at the moment. Baraksa and Chirap of Ukraine and Romania on his outside, while Klippert is still very much holding in for Ukraine, going in lane 3. It's only Cuesta who's just dropping off the pace, the Colombian, but at the 50 it is Izotau who touches first. But on the turn, has he got enough in the water? It's a great underwater, and it'll break the water a good body length in front coming home. But the battle here between Baraksa and Chirap. Baraksa's got a strong finish, and he'll push for that second place finish. But Klippert is in good form coming into Rio 2016, and looks to be, after touching 4th, challenging for a second place touch.
Well, Klippert is looking fantastic, but Izotau had a fantastic turn, great off the wall, really strong, showing just that how crucial that is in the 100 metres discipline. Makes such a difference, particularly in that back end. So Izotau will touch in first, 1:07.52. It'll be Klippert his second, and Baraksa in 3rd position for the heat. As we wait for the final swimmers to come in, we'll be able to give you a lineup. So Baraksa swam a 1:10.92. just behind the 1:10.65 of Klippert. So there wasn't much in it for second place of that heat. 1:07.52 the winning time. Siorap from Romania, 1:13.92 in 4th position, and Cuesta Martinez from Colombia, 1:19.46. We'll have to wait and see how heat 2 plays out to know whether he has done enough to make the final. It would seem he has a tough ask ahead at this stage, but you can see here Izotau came into the wall, had a fantastic turn and just pushed off so well. It set him up beautifully for that final 50. So the qualifying time, the marquee set 1:07.52, and he looked as though he did it very easily. Still got plenty in the tank as we move on to the confirmation of the results there. So Izotau 1:07.52 ahead of 2 athletes from Ukraine and a cheer up from Romania. The men's 100 metres breaststroke SB12 heat 2. And we know Saleh, Dimitri Saleh from Azerbaijan, the 26-year-old, swam a 1:06.93 to qualify, the fastest across both heats, in fact. And he's swimming from lane 4 And Akhmatov from Kazakhstan, 1:08.48 was his qualifying time. Saleh was a butterfly gold medalist in Beijing. He swum the qualifying time under Paralympic record, so Paralympic record time 1:07.28, so he was half a second quicker almost under that. So we have Satil from Italy, Simon from Germany, Saleh in 4 from Azerbaijan, Akhmatov from Kazakhstan, Rio De Janeiro from Colombia, the Colombian swimmers featuring so prominently in these Rio 2016 Paralympic Games, and Baez Aliza from Puerto Rico in lane 7. Well, Saleh was a little slow off the box there, and he'll need to make up a little bit of time in that second 25 of the first 50, because it was a sluggish start, but he's doing that now. He's starting to put the pace on. In lane 2, it's Simon from Germany having a great swim, so a little even across the pool at the moment. And out in lane 6, Geraldo Carrillo also having a great swim from Colombia. So it'll be Saleh who touches in at the wall first. We can give you the split time. He's looking good. He's opened up a slight lead, 31.16, ahead of Akhmatov, who touches in second, 32.54.
Well, it's Saleh who's desperately wanting to show that he's still got the ability of years gone by when he was a Paralympic Games champion. Dimitri Saleh is pushing and currently looking very good. Saleh ahead of Akhmatov, the Kazakhstan swimmer, who's a fine performer in the breaststrokes. But the Colombian, Giraldo, is not doing too badly, and it's a battle for the third place with Simon of Germany, but there's only one swimmer in it.
So Saleh will touch in at the wall first easily. He looked like he was not really raising too much of an effort in that final 15, and Akhmatov will touch in second. So it was a 1:08.68, so slightly slower than heat 1, and we know that's well below his best for Dimitri Saleh. In fact, almost 2 seconds slower than his qualifying time. But that's okay. That means the showdown for the final will be very, very interesting indeed. So Saleh first, Akhmatov touched in second at 1:09.35. So it was a slow start off the blocks for Saleh, but it didn't take him long to settle. He easily had the lead going into the turn, had a lovely turn, set himself up very nicely for the back end, and wasn't really challenged in that heat. Geraldo Correa was the third fastest qualifier from that heat as well, a time of 1:10.53.
Well, it looks like there might be some trouble here for the Puerto Rican swimmer, Starvin Baez.
So he swam a time of 1:18.70, so not really challenging even for a heat qualification at this stage, but still important to post a time nevertheless. An important benchmark at an international competition. So just checking over there, there may have been an issue with the turn, perhaps. So just awaiting official confirmation here of the results from Heat 2. And it does appear those results will stand. So Darvin Baez, Aliza, 1:18.70. We'll have to wait and see whether that's quick enough to get him into the final. I suspect not. So Saleh easily the quickest of that heat, wasn't really challenged, and suspect he has plenty left in reserve. So it'll be Belarus, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan with Akhmatov, the third quickest qualifier, Colombia, 2 Ukrainian athletes, the German Daniel Simon and Fabrizio Satil from Italy, the 8th fastest qualifier.
The first heat of 2 in the men's 100-meter backstroke S8. Bogdan Hernenko, Robert Griswold, Yuri Bozinski, and Niels Mortensen go in lanes 3, 4, 5, and 6. Robert Griswold, the 19-year-old world record holder in the 100 backstroke in years gone by, and 200 world record holder currently. Good start for Bozinski of Ukraine going in lane 5. Hernenko and Bozinski of Ukraine going in 3 and 5, while Griswold of the United States, looking to go through the center of the 2 Ukrainian swimmers, goes in 4. A man who's already posted a 1:04 this season, which is a second odd better than the Paralympic record, and now comes into his own. Niels Mortensen of Denmark is going in lane 6, and at the moment is not quite keeping pace. First to turn will be the 19-year-old American swimmer. Takes a little while to get into his stroke, and perhaps why the 100 is not quite his favorite event, but indeed is the 200 world record holder over this distance, but looking very strong in this race.
Absolutely, it's very even across the field, just the 4 swimmers in this race, and one more heat to come before the final is decided, but it does look like the American, the 19-year-old, has the advantage. In fact, he's building a small lead here, about half a body length.
Just taking it into the wall, doing only what he has to do, is Robert Griswold, and goes to the wall comfortably quickest in Paralympic record time, and just about bang on what he's been swimming this season leading up to Rio 2016. Bozinski and Hernenko take second and third respectively in the heats, but expect something a little faster from the 2 Ukrainians in the final. Griswold will know that he will need to go a little faster in the final if he is to claim the gold medal in an event that he's desperate to win.
Well, the good news there for Griswold was he swam under a Paralympic record, but didn't actually look as though he extended himself to the full, so we may actually have another record set in the second session on day 6 when the final rolls around.
Good on the turn. Took a little while to get into his race, but with 20 meters to go in the opening 50, he was already into it, and indeed at the turn just extended his advantage and then turned it on for the final few yards in the pool. And Griswold, a little fist bump. The men's 100-meter backstroke S8, first heat of 2. Griswold in Paralympic record time ahead of Bozinski and Hernenko. Mortensen touching 4th fastest. A nervous wait to see if he advances to the final. Final heat of the men's 100 backstroke S8. Gawilan of Philippines, Ungles of Australia, Zhou of China, Hind of Great Britain, and Carlo Magno of Argentina go in lanes 2 to 6. Zhou of People's Republic of China up against Ollie Hind, already a gold medalist at these championships. 400 freestyle gold medal, like his brother Sam. It's not his strongest event, but still a 105 swimmer at his best over this distance is Ollie Hind. Of all the swimmers in the pool, Zhou Kong is the quickest by some margin, but he got off to a very slow start. Not a great reaction time. Best of the reaction times was certainly to the Argentinian Carlo Magno, who had a very powerful start. Good streamline underwater and broke the water first, and is maintaining his advantage behind, with Zhou looking to make up now. It's Ungles who's fallen off the pace, and indeed Gawilan of Philippines who's struggling to keep pace with the 4 swimmers ahead of him.
Well, it's the Argentinian who, as you said, took it out very hard. He had a much quicker stroke rate than the other athletes in the pool, and he's neck and neck with Hind at the moment. Hind touched him out at the wall, but only by 0.7 of a second, so it's going to be a very even finish here. In fact, I thought the Argentinian may tire after that first 50 metres, such was the stroke rate that he had. He was turning the arms over so quickly, but it does look like he was able to hold his own. Hind looking good for the final.
Well, Hind is going to come back in the second 50 over Zhou Kong, and indeed Carlomagno of Argentina. It is Carlomagno who just touches ahead of Zhou. So despite the very strong start by the Chinese swimmer, and indeed Carlomagno, the victory going the way of Oliver Hind. A 106.12, 105 so far this season already for him. So Hind takes the victory in the second heat. Jesse Ungles makes it into the final with his 110.39. Gawilan will miss out though. Chinese swimmer Zhou Kong. Well, he's quick in the water, Zhou Kong, but just got off to a very poor start overall. Also got into his stroke, was pretty good. Carlomagno just so good with that start in the underwater. But Hind at the turn made it count. And the prospect of adding to his gold medal in the 400 free with a medal in the 100 back. So Oliver Hind ahead of Pippo Carlomagno of Argentina, Zhou Kong of China, third fastest. Ungles will sneak into the final with that 110.39. He'll swim in lane 1 though. Griswold qualifies fastest in Paralympic record time. Ahead of Bozinski and Hind, Irnenko, Carlomagno, Zhou, Ungles and Mortensen. The swimmers who are through to the final in the men's 100 back S8. The first of 3 heats in the women's 100 backstroke S8. Now this is one of the more wide open races of Rio 2016. You could easily pick a winner of any one of 5 or 6 swimmers. But Stephanie Millward, the world record holder, will fancy dominating. She'll go in the third heat. De Araujo, Keizer, Long, Marks, Jin, Dushkova go in the first heat of 3. Long and Marks going side by side, and Jessica Long doesn't get much power off the wall. The double leg amputee, but in the water she's very strong, and she is looking to pull away in lane 4. Marks is alongside her in lane 5, and Cleo Keizer of the Netherlands is going along very strong in lane 3, but the 3 swimmers just edging ahead now of Jin Xiaoqin of China going in lane 6, and it is Long who is looking the best, but she doesn't have the strength on the turn, and that might prove to be a disadvantage for Long at the 50 mark.
Well, Long touches in at the 50 split at 38.73, and you're right, not a lot of power off the wall for her. 32.90, 32.20, 39.20. We'll get it right for Cruiser from the Netherlands, touched in second. It is Long still in front at the moment, but not by much. She's trying to build here, but it's a very slim margin. Marks just swimming on her left shoulder, and on the other side, Cruiser is having a great swim as well, but Long shouldn't ultimately be challenged for the win in heat 1. Looks as though she'll bring it home quite comfortably. Well, Jessica Long, silver medalist in this event in London 4 years ago. Long, not her favourite event, certainly. And she's failed to claim a gold medal at these championships already. Marks, a gold medalist in the 100 breast, touches second ahead of Keizer, 18-year-old from the Netherlands. A cheer for De Araujo of Brazil as she touches, while last to touch is Vendula Dushkova of the Czech Republic. From lane 7, Jessica Long, quickest in the water again, a 1:18.92 ahead of Elizabeth Marks, a 1:19.97.
Really doesn't get much off the wall, this Jessica Long. But makes up for it in the water. She's got a good rotation in the shoulders, but just getting the body roll sometimes not quite looking quite as steady and smooth as she has in previous years. Just get a sense that she's off her very best, Jessica Long. Still waiting for the official result is Jessica Long. But here it is, confirmation of 1:18.92, over a second ahead of Elizabeth Marks, her compatriot Kaiser of Netherlands touches third fastest, De Araujo. That's not a time that should qualify for the final, I'm afraid, for the Brazilian fans.
The women's 100 metres backstroke S8 Heat 2. 3 heats in total, the fastest 8 going through to the final, which is later on day 6. As we look at the lineup there, we've got Wegenham from the United States, who has swum a few events here in Rio but yet to medal. Madison Elliott has a gold already to her name in the 100 metres free, and Patterson from Australia as well. Her teammate gold in the 400 metres free and silver in the 100 metres free. So they do swim in a lot of similar events, the Australian pair. The lineup being Kelly in lane 2 from Ireland, Wegerman in 3 from the USA, Elliott 4, Patterson 5, Tripp from Canada, Abby Tripp, the 15-year-old, youngest in this, second youngest in this heat, Danielle Doris from Canada, her teammate, 13 years of age, swimming at the bottom of your screen in lane 7. The women's 100 metres backstroke S8. So we know that Patterson in 5 has excellent endurance. Elliott perhaps a little more suited to the 100 distance. We know she's had success already in the 100 free, the showcase event. Just waiting the final adjustments to be made at the starting blocks. The technical officials having a short discussion with Elliott, it appears, in 3. See on your screen Patterson in 4, so it's Elliott in 4 rather, having a short discussion with. Well, they're finally away after a nerve-jangling hold-up at the start line there. The technical officials just having a short discussion with Elliott, who's in lane 4, but she's off to a great start. She's taking an early lead, about half a body length, but it's the youngster, the 13-year-old Canadian, who's having a great swim, Danielle Doris, swimming, of course, in her first Paralympic Games. It looks to be Australia 1-2, Elliott Patterson and the Canadian Doris. Currently in 3rd position and having a great second 25 is the American Wegerman as well. She's staying in touch with the leaders as they round into the first turn.
Looking very good for Elliott and Patterson on her outside. The Canadian who started so well, Doris only touches 4th overall. Wegerman, though, coming back. But Elliott is swimming a better race, and you wonder just how the delay at the start might have affected the swimmers. Certainly not affecting either one of the Australian swimmers at the moment, but it looks like Patterson has got the stronger back end in this race, and Elliott is just being overhauled by her teammate here, while closing fastest going in lane 3 is Wegerman.
Well, Elliott and Patterson quite literally swimming in unison here. They were stroke for stroke over that middle 25. It's going to be Patterson who'll touch in just ahead of Elliott. And rounding out the third place, Wegerman, who, fair to say, overcame not the best start and managed to tidy up her race over the final 75 to touch in at third position. So the time for Patterson, the 17-year-old, 1:20.32. So only just ahead of Elliott, who touched in at 1:20.79. So Australia 1-2 in the heat. So there was a delay to the start, a discussion with Elliott. It didn't seem to faze her in the end, showing great maturity. Often it can be quite off-putting if you're held up at the start for too long. She broke the water and looked fantastic, and stroke for stroke with it by the Australians. Both 17 years of age, both showing great promise, each having a gold medal so far in Rio, and just a touch in it, and they'll have a great time racing together later on day 6. So Patterson, Elliott, Wegerman, Tripp, Doris and Kelly. The final 3 will just have to wait and see how the final heat plays out.
Third and final heat of the women's 100 backstroke S8. Munoz, Liu, Millwood, Slater, Floriankova and Duquesne of Canada. There is the world record holder, Stephanie Millwood of Great Britain, who goes in lane 4. The 34-year-old. This is her event, surely. Although the way Long marks Elliott, Patterson and Slater, who will go alongside Millwood in this final, have been going. One wonders if Millwood is going to be challenged. She should be the class act in the pool. Canada's Duquesne going in lane 7, nearest to your screen. Into the pool they go, 2 lengths of this Olympic pool for the women's 100 backstroke S8. Away they go in lane 5. The quickest of the starters was Stephanie Slater, the silver medalist in the 100 fly. The 25-year-old has put some real pressure on Millwood in the opening stages. And Liu Weiyuan, who has never medaled at the Paralympic Games, she's got a host of 4th place finishes and is looking good in the 3rd overall. But coming back into her own, Stephanie Millwood, and this should be the race that she controls.
Yes, as you expect, Millwood just moving through the field, had a sluggish start, but she'll easily touch in at the wall first. We'll update you with the split. 35.51, it appears she's swimming under world record pace at the moment, so she's really showing she's in top form going into this event, and really showing why she's the woman to beat. She had the fastest qualifying time by a country mile, it's fair to say, full 6 seconds quicker than anyone else, and she's doing it with ease here in the heat.
Well, she's got such a significant lead already, has Steph Millwood of Great Britain, the 34-year-old bronze medalist in the 100 and 400 free. She's just dropping off a little in the closing stages. It's going to be a very fast time, however, and significantly faster than anybody else. But this is going to be a good Paralympic record, a 1:13.75 for Steph Millwood, who touches quickest. Second fastest was Stephanie Slater, who got off to that promising start, and Liu Weiyuan comes home in 3rd for People's Republic of China. Munoz of Chile touches 5th fastest after Floriankova's touch for 4th, just under 1:25, and Duquesne a 1:32.63. But Steph Millwood of Great Britain, a new Paralympic record that she has set, and shows that if there was any concern about who the favourite is, she is the swimmer to beat in this race. So qualifies well faster than Long or Marks or Liu or Patterson or Elliott.
Yeah, so she didn't have the greatest start, but in the end, such is the quality of her stroke, it actually doesn't really matter all that much, because by the 25-metre mark she'd inched up, and by the first turn she was swimming under world record pace. I suspect, although she swum under Paralympic record pace, it's still outside her best, so we may even see her go faster in the finals tonight. She just seemed to do that heat so comfortably.
Well within herself indeed. Stephanie Slater, she will go faster in the final for the Paralympic record. Look at the gap between first and second. Millwood over Slater over Liu. So the swimmers that'll advance to the 100 backstroke S8 final are going to be led by Millwood with Long and Marks. Liu will sneak in after a third place touch in that fastest of the 3 heats, but only just sneak in. Kaiser, Elliott, Patterson, United States, Great Britain and Australia all represented with 2 swimmers each. Netherlands and China will have 1 each in the final. A little sprint action for you in the pool as the first heat of 3 in the men's 50-metre freestyle S9. We'll see 6 swimmers go in the opening heat. 15-year-old Timothy Hodge goes in 2 for Australia. Silva of Brazil gets a big cheer. Leo Latinmaki goes in 4 for Finland. Crouch of Great Britain in 5. Hall of Australia in 6. And Al Hussein goes in 7, swimming under the Paralympic flag. The 24-year-old Finnish swimmer is off to a very fast start indeed. The man who was born in Tampere in his first big event of these games is improved drastically in the event after third place finish at the World Championships in Montreal 3 years ago now. But looking for a big fast time here. Is he going to touch first? I think finishing fastest is Crouch. Crouch does touch ahead, and indeed even Silva finds himself touching ahead of Latinmaki. Very slow for Latinmaki, a swimmer who's gone very much faster this season already, only 3rd quickest. It's Hodge who touches 5th fastest for Australia, but Ryan Crouch just says, quieten down, a finger to the lips. He's silenced the home fans. Beat Silva, and he beat the far more fancied Latinmaki as well. Impressive from Crouch. It was Latinmaki who got off to the better start, but quickly into his stroke. And Crouch comes home fast. Ryan Crouch of Great Britain. A knowing nod. That's right, that's right. You know it. Ryan Crouch ahead of Rita Silva. Leo Latinmaki has some thinking to do, even if he makes the final. Hall, Hodge and Al Hussein, one of the 2 athletes from the refugee team, finishes 6th.
As we move on to the men's 50 metres freestyle S9 heat 2, we've got Timothy Diskin from Australia in 4, fastest qualifier. Chikuro Yamada from Japan in 5, the lineup. Michela Tenzakis from Greece, Grachat from Portugal, Diskin, Yamada, Fio from Brazil, and Castillo Estevez from Cuba.
A little disturbance from the crowd. Just asking for silence from the crowd ahead of the start of this race.
So it was an even start there, and of course the crowd just unable to contain their excitement. They're erupting for Fio, who's swimming so well in lane 6 at the moment. He might actually be half a stroke in front of the next best, which is Yamada from Japan. Although it looks as though Diskin finally in the last 15 is finding a little bit of kick. He's going to stroke forward just ahead of Yamada. It's going to be Diskin winning the heat ahead of Yamada and Fio in 3rd. Well, the crowd has gone wild. They were a little out of control at the start there, hence the delay, such is the excitement here. 26.08, so slightly quicker than heat 1 for Diskin. So at this stage, he's the fastest qualifier, but we still do have another heat to go. Diskin, the 19-year-old, Yamada, swimming a 26.20. So he was also faster than Crouch, who won heat 1. The 25-year-old from Japan. It was really even across the blocks. Most swimmers got away to a great start, the Brazilian especially, and the crowd erupted as they saw that he was in for a real chance to take this heat. In the end, it was Diskin, just too strong in the final 15, really found his range. So confirmation there of heat 2, Diskin, Yamada, Fio, Grachat, then Greece and Cuba, who you would think would be unlikely to make the final with still one heat left.
Third and final heat of the men's 50 freestyle S9. Hassani of Comoros, Bureau of USA, Toth of Hungary, Wiley of Great Britain, Murray Alcaraz of Spain, Tadic of Montenegro and Hungary soars. Now Matt Wiley of Great Britain, once he gets into his stroke, should be the swimmer to beat. Going very quickly though for Hungary in lane 7 is Soares, who has the initial lead and is looking to hold on here. But Wiley, when he gets into his stroke, should be the quickest over this distance in the pool. Tamas Toth, however, is holding on over his left shoulder, and Soares is fading. Wiley is streaking in front, while Murray Alcaraz is just trying to stay with him on his right shoulder. It'll be Wiley of Great Britain who glides to the wall at 25.99. The fastest of the qualifiers. That's quicker than Diskin's 26.08, and the first sub 26-second swimmer in the pool, Matt Wiley of Great Britain, a 19-year-old who only finished 6th in his 100 freestyle heat, has finished quickest of all the qualifiers in the 50 free heats. So he'll have the preferred lane 4 draw for the final, representing Great Britain, the man from Sunderland. Oh, Wiley getting into his stroke, just came strong in the back end, and once he had the race under control, just took a little glide to the wall ahead of Murray Alcaraz and Toth. So both Murray Alcaraz and Toth will qualify comfortably. Soares might fancy qualifying for the final as well. But sub 26 seconds for Matt Wiley of Great Britain. So there the 8 swimmers advance. Silva of Brazil just makes it in. Soares and Toth both make it through to the final. Toth the bronze in the 100 free. But Wiley, Diskin, Murray Alcaraz, Yamada, all among those in contention for a medal in the final. This is the women's 50-meter freestyle S9, first heat of 3. Ince, Neufi, Jimenez, Gascon, Wang, Smith and Sechi. This should be Gascon's race. 23-year-old Spanish swimmer gets off very nicely in the starters blocks. The women's 50 freestyle S9 is underway, but going strong in lane 6 for the United States is Elizabeth Smith, but the 20-year-old doesn't quite have the speed in the water of Gascon. She's got the ability to turn it on in the closing stages, and after silvers in the 100 free and the 200 IM, Gascon will be wanting to turn it on in the 50 free. She's a great sprinter, but she's being held off here by Wang of China, who's also finishing strongest. The two glide to the wall together. Wang ahead of Gascon, with Smith touching third fastest. Strong swim from Wang. 24-year-old going under 30 seconds, so too for Gascon. Well, Wang, who blew her chances in the 100 free heats, swimming a very strong opening 50 in this first heat of 3 in the women's 50 freestyle S9. The 24-year-old now based in Shanghai, came back strong. Gascon was in the lead for a while and then caught at the end by Wang. Gascon has got that very big kick that she'll save for the final, you expect. Elizabeth Smith doing very well from lane 6 of 30.18.
As we look to heat 2 of the women's 50 metres freestyle S9, the second heat of 3. The Danish fans there loving seeing themselves on camera. The lineup for the women's 50 metre freestyle S9 heat 2 is Morishita from Japan, is in lane 1. Camille Cruz from Brazil, expect a big cheer there in lane 2. Hannah Aston from the USA, the 16-year-old in 3. Ellie Cole from Australia, 24 years of age. The fastest qualifier across the first 2 heats at least coming into this. Emily Beecroft, her teammate, just 16 years of age from Australia. On the screen there you can see Aston from the United States. Amy Marin from Great Britain is in 6. And Konkoly from Hungary, the 14-year-old, will swim in 7. So Beecroft had the best start there, quickest out of the blocks, and she's taken the early lead on the 50 metres. But Ellie Cole, who's swum across a range of disciplines, including the longer distance events, has now come out in front. She's neck and neck with their fellow Australian, her teammate, and then trailing from the USA is Aston. But it'll be the Australian Ellie Cole having a terrific second 25 metres to touch in first. We'll check in the time for you. 29.26, so a slightly faster heat is heat 2. It'll be Australia 1-2, Emily Beecroft in second, Hannah Aston in third from the United States. Then the final field, Marin from Great Britain, Konkoly, Cruz and Morishita from Japan finishing 7th. American athlete, 16-year-old Aston, you could see on your screen there. It was a sharp start, not the sharpest for Cole, but she was able to make up ground. She'll want to work on that for this evening's final. But in the end, relatively unchallenged. She had such a great second 25, touching in as the winner of heat 2. And the fastest qualifier so far, with still 1 heat remaining.
So Cole and Beecroft sub 30 seconds, 2 Australians.
Ellie Cole, the bronze medalist from London, hoping to improve in the final.
Third and final heat of the women's 50 free S9. Gray of South Africa goes in 1, Kitco of Thailand in 2, Marks, Konkoly, McConnell, Lin, Ichinosi and Acuna of Puerto Rico going in lane 8. Konkoly, the world record holder and already a champion of the 100 free. She goes in lane 4. China's Lin Ping, gold medalist in the 200 IM, goes in 6. Going in lane 3 though, it's Marcos Soto of Spain who's got off to a great start. The 400 free gold medalist, but doesn't have a great deal of speed in the water. Going in lane 2, the 18-year-old from Thailand, Ankia Ketko, is going very strong, but at the moment it is Konkoly who's just pulling away from Ashley McConnell, and in 6, Lin Ping looking good for a second place touch, but Konkoly has this race under control. Japanese swimmer Ichinosi is just falling by the wayside. It's Konkoly who will bring this home, and Konkoly touches ahead of China's Lin Ping with McConnell third fastest, a new Paralympic record for Konkoli. She qualifies fastest and swims just 0.12 of a second off her own world record. And by nearly a second is the fastest qualifier. .28.36 Paralympic record. Lin Ping of China finishes second in this one, while 20-year-old Ashley McConnell of Australia touches third fastest. It's a Paralympic record time for Konkoli in this race. She'll have qualified 0.9 of a second ahead of Ellie Cole for the final, but once she hit the water, didn't matter that she didn't have the best reaction time off the blocks. Such speed in the water, propels herself to the wall. It's very close to her own world record time. When you consider that speed in the water, a quicker reaction time off the blocks, her own world record is gone, and that's with her swimming in the heats. There'll be more in the tank in the final. Konkoli ahead of Lin, ahead of McConnell, Marcus Soto. 30.1, she should sneak into the final. These are the 8 swimmers who advance. 9/10 of a second ahead of Ellie Cole, and Lin Ping is Konkoli. Wang, McConnell, Gascon, Beecroft and Marcus Soto, the 400 free champion, sneaks in.
The men's 50 metres freestyle heats S3, 2 heats in this discipline. And the world record and Paralympic record from Ukraine. Dmitry Bayanradet is swimming in heat 2 as we look at the lineup for heat 1. Kostakis, who was a bronze medalist in Athens, will swim in lane 3. And Li Hanhua, multiple Paralympic medalist, 34 years of age, swimming in 4. He's the quickest qualifier at 43.98. Vincenzo Boni from Italy, swimming in 5. Fredriksson from Sweden, the 25-year-old, his second Paralympic, swimming in lane 6. And you can see the Chinese athlete Li Hanhua, 34-year-old, just waiting to enter the pool. Beside him on his left-hand side is Kostakis, and further up, you can see at the top of your screen, is Alberto Ibarza from Chile. Slower qualifying time, 1:04.23. Let's see what he can manage here. So this is the S3 classification. World record mark is 42.60, set 8 years ago at the Beijing 2008 Paralympic Games. So we just wait for the athletes to make their final adjustments for the 50-metre dash. 2 heats in total. So we have 11 athletes contesting 8 spots in the final later on day 3. And Fredriksson is yet to break water. He had a deep dive start, but at the moment he's just ever so slightly in front of Vincenzo Boni from Italy, who's off to a fantastic start in this race, and his opening up and lead here is almost a full body length in front of Fredriksson from Sweden. So it looks as though it's going to be Boni all the way. An easy qualification for him, showing his intention for the final later on day 6. Li Hanhua, we expected big things from him. He's cruising through. He's likely to finish, I think, just ahead of Fredriksson in second position, but it is Boni touching in first position, heat 1, 47.03. Li Hanhua will take second, and Fredriksson third position. Rounding out the field, in fourth position we have Kostakis from Greece, 55.45, and Ibarza, 58.17. So the 28-year-old from Italy, Boni, Vincenzo Boni, the fastest qualifier from heat 1. And You can see there, athletes can select their preferred method for the start.
And indeed their preferred stroke. This is the freestyle, which means they can swim any of the strokes. Most swimmers who are able to will swim the crawl, but indeed Boney preferring to go with the backstroke, and he was a bronze medalist in the backstroke and looking to fight for a medal in the freestyle. Touches quickest, a 47.03 for the Italian.
So Boney, 47.03, that time is still more than 3 seconds outside his best, so he's done what he's needed to in the heat to make sure he gets through to the final. Li Hanhua, 50-55, the next quickest, and Fredrickson swimming just over 48, so. As we look to heat 2 of the men's 50 metres freestyle S3.
Well, I think the lane to look out for Vino Radet, the world record holder, goes in lane 5. And outside of the silver 4 years ago, he's dominated this event.
He has indeed. He hasn't posted the fastest qualifying time, but he will be challenged by Huang Wenpeng. So there we go. The world record mark, 42.60. Viro Radet, as we just wait for the athletes to prepare for their freestyle heat. So the lineup is Tronco from Mexico, Du Jianping from China. The 2 Chinese athletes together, so Du is in lane 3, Huang Wenpeng is in 4, Vino Radet in 5, Martinez Tajula in 6, and Nasolowski in 7 from Namibia. So Viron Radet's qualifying time, 44.16. So Mexico, Tronco just helped to the starting blocks. And you can see on your screen Nasolowski from Namibia just taking his preferred method from poolside. That's the Mexican athlete you can see there, Tronco. So a clean start there, and the crowd absolutely loving these 50-metre dashes. And at the early stage of the race, it is Huang Wenpeng, who, as expected, will be challenging for the gold medal in this event. He's taken the early lead, and he's extending that lead at the 25-metre mark. Beautiful, relaxed, long stroke. Slowish tempo, but because he's getting such length in his stroke, he's getting excellent catch, pulling through. And he is easing in front. He's going to do it easily in this heat and really set a mark to beat. So the Chinese Huang will touch in first, and he's ahead of world record time, would you believe? What a great achievement in heat 2. So Huang Wenpeng will go through in world record time, showing he is the athlete to beat and sending such a strong message to the Ukrainian. And we have, what you can hear is a huge cheer for the 2 remaining athletes in the pool. So that's Tronco from Mexico, touching in 6th position. And we still have 1 athlete to go. It's Nasolowski, 31 years of age. The crowd willing him to touch in at the finish line, and what fantastic support he's receiving here. Well, the crowd are on their feet here at the Olympic Aquatic Stadium. It's been such incredible support from the Brazilian crowd. An acknowledgement there from Nasolowski, thanking the crowd, just laying back on his back. The winner, Huang Wenpeng, 40.51 is the new world record he set just in the heat, so you do have to wonder what he might be capable of in the final. He did look as though he wasn't even extending himself. Such was that beautiful, long, relaxed stroke whistle.
Gideon Nasilowski starting closest to your screen, and while he finished in a 138.21, he's known as the amphibian Namibian, a man who served as the chair of the Namibian Federation for the Disabled. But the focus is very much on Huang Wenpan, and why not a world record in the preliminaries for Huang Wenpan, and beating out the favorite for the gold, Dimitrov Vinohradets. Not only is he a multiple Paralympic champion, but Vinohradets has also won this event at the World Championships for the last 4 editions. And being beaten out in arguably his favorite event.
Yes, the Ukrainian having to settle for second position in that heat. He'll easily make it through to the final, but the biggest cheers reserved for Nasolowski. One of the most popular athletes here, and it's the only event he'll swim here. So there you have the final standings. Huang Wenpeng easily qualifying fastest, the Ukrainian second, China again in third, then Italy, China, Spain, Sweden and Greece. The men's 200 metres freestyle S4 classification. And we'll introduce the athletes to you. Heat 1, we have Jin, who already has a silver medal in Rio, an athlete with cerebral palsy. He's swum a qualifying time of 3:09 on the marker, and should be feeling quite comfortable heading into this. And got Schoenmaker from the Netherlands, 3:05 qualification, had the gold in London in the 50-metre breast. So Liu, Jin, Schoenmaker, Sanchez, Martinez and Povasil from Czech in lane 6. Povasil, a bronze medalist in Beijing in this event, and Sanchez Martinez, the defending Paralympic champion. He won 4 medals in London, so he'll swim in 4. He's away to a very smooth start. In fact, looking fantastic. It's 200 metres freestyle, so 4 lengths of the Olympic pool. And early on, it's actually Povasil who's making a challenge. He's gotten out very strongly in the first 50, but relatively even across the pool. It's just Liu Liangtao who's in lane 2, a little off the pace at this stage, but it will be quite even coming into the first turn.
Well, you wonder about Sanchez Martinez of Mexico. I mean, he is the defending champion, but he was swimming well under 3 minutes to win gold. He missed out on a medal in the 100 free, which is another event in which he was defending champion, and swimming nowhere near the times that he has posted in years gone by. And in fact, at the World Championships last year, I think he only managed to finish 5th overall in this event. But he's somebody who's got the ability to go so much faster, but I just fear he is not swimming anywhere near his very best at the moment. So Sanchez Martinez needs something to change, but Schoenmaker of the Netherlands is the swimmer currently who is leading the swimmers out. Sanchez Martinez is still 2nd overall. Povasil is pulling himself along nicely, just a good cup, and gets himself through the water with relative ease. Povasil touches 3rd, or will touch 3rd, just over 3 seconds behind the leader, Schoenmaker of the Netherlands early on. Jin Jipeng just trying to hold on, and will be wanting to post a stronger back end, but of course they'll be wanting to post an even stronger final after hopefully qualifying.
Yes, Schoenmaker, in case you were wondering, that 100 split was 128.91, so touched in first. It was only about a second quicker than Sanchez Martinez, so So we can see them head down. They'll touch in at the 150 mark. It will still be Schoenmaker in front at the 150 split, but Sanchez Martinez, despite not performing at his absolute best at the moment, is easily staying in touch. In fact, looking very comfortable, and we can expect him to have a strong back end as well. But Schoenmaker has seemed to find a lovely tempo with his stroke. His strokes are long and relaxed. He's got plenty of clear water in front of him, so nothing troubling him at this stage. Sanchez Martinez, second position, and Povasil is in third, although not by much. There's a little bit of a fight on here because Ginger Peng is staying with him. He may just be able to spy him across the lane rope when he comes up for air on his right-hand side, just to get an idea of where he's sitting in the overall standings of Heat 1. But easily Schoenmaker from the Netherlands will touch in at the 200 split, well in front, comfortably in front in fact. Sanchez Martinez, though, staying in touch. He's not letting it get away. So there we have it, Schoenmaker. Sanchez Martinez touching in second. And it'll be third in that heat to Povasil, so 3:13. So the time in the end was 3:05.13 from Schoenmaker. Easily coming in. The big cheer you can hear from the crowd is for Liu Lantau. Fantastic support. He'll touch in at 3:42.10. So the final standings, that man on your screen, Schoenmaker, the 3:05.13. So only a fraction outside the time he posted in qualifying. World record for this event is 2:55.81, set 8 years ago in Beijing. So you can see there through the replay, Schoenmaker never really looking troubled, particularly towards the end there. He wasn't building his lead in the final 50, but he was just doing enough to make sure he relaxed and even, dare I say it, enjoyed himself in that final 50. So 3:05.13, the early benchmark. Schoenmaker, Sanchez Martinez, Povasil should both make it through to the final. Two Chinese athletes, Jin Peng and Liu Yuntao, rounding out that field. As we look to Heat 2 of the men's 200 metres freestyle S4 classification, and Hernandez from Mexico, the 24-year-old, is swimming in Heat 2. Darko Duric from Slovakia in 3, 27 years of age, fourth in this event in London. We'll be hoping to go better, finish in the medals here in Rio. Joji Song from Korea, 20 years of age. He's the man to beat. He is the fastest qualifier, the world champion in this event. Lopez, who you can see on your screen, Portugal, he'll swim in 7th. So Smetanine in 5 and Deravinsky from Ukraine in 6. That rounds out the field for you. Smetanine, 41 years of age, from France. Came 4th in the 100 free. And in Beijing was the gold medalist for the 50 free and 100 free, and the silver medalist in Great Britain for the 200 free and 50 metre free, as well as the backstroke as well. Is a strong performer back in Beijing, managed a silver medal as well. So Joji Seong from Korea already has a gold at these games as well. And Darko Duric had the best start there, a quick reaction time. And he's out to a flying start here. He's taken it out very hard, has Darko Duric from Slovakia. In fact, almost has 3/4 of a body length on the rest of the field.
So Duric is taking it out very hard indeed, but do not discount Joe of Korea Republic. He's a gold medalist in the 100 freestyle, and he will settle very quickly. Will find himself just touching the wall, third overall behind Duric and Smethanin of France. Smethanin, for the longest time, he dominated this race, but now at 41 is well beyond his very best years in the pool. But as recently as 2010 was the world champion over this distance. For Joe of Korea, it'll be about focusing on the last 100 here. He's a very consistent swimmer. He's got the speed of a sprinter, and he's got the endurance of a longer distance swimmer, and he should come into his own. But right now, it is Duric who is continuing to lead this race as we edge towards the halfway mark.
So the Slovenian athlete will touch in at the 100 split, leading the field, although that margin has decreased slightly. It'll be Smethanin touching in second, but there's not much in second place at the moment. Let's see whether there's a kick on here from Joe, who, as you say, has proven to be a real star performer in recent times in this event. But Duric having a great swim. It is pulling back a little. Joe's starting to move. Smethanin staying with him though. He's not letting him get away, and at the third turn it's going to be very tight heading into the final 50.
You might get a feeling that Duric, after missing out on medals in the 100 free and the 50 fly, that he finds himself in a position where he feels this might be his last realistic chance of a medal. He's never medaled at the Paralympic Games previously. He finished 4th in this event in London, which was his best performance. He swam a 3:06 at the London Games to finish just outside the medals, but he's somebody who's been a world champion over the 100 as recently as 2013 in Montreal, but it's in the last 50 where the Korean is showing his class, and perhaps Duric is tiring a little as well. Joe looks to be overhauling the Slovenian in the closing stages, with Smethanin also looking to upset Duric over the last 20.
So it was stroke for the briefest of times, but now it's Joe who's pulling easily in front. He's showing his strength and conditioning here. He's really finished that final 25 with a flourish. So it'll be Joe followed by Duric touching in second. A great swim from Duric, and Smethanin third will do enough to get through to the final. And coming in for fourth is likely to be Deravinsky. Touches in with 3:18.59. Hernandez touches in next in fifth position, 3:25.76, and Nelson Lopez from Portugal just coming into the final 15 metres in his chosen stroke over the 200 freestyle. And well, what a rousing reception. Bringing the Portuguese swimmer into the wall. He'll finish in a 3:51.29, but it's Jo Ji-sung from Korea, 3:03.64, so he's gone quicker than the first heat. About a second and a half quicker, not quite 2 seconds. He'll qualify faster, so he'll swim from lane 4 ahead of Schoenmaker from heat 1. So that'll be an interesting battle tonight to see who can back up well. The 200 is a difficult distance, particularly with the two swims in one day.
Well, Duric got off to a very good start and wanted to take it out hard, but it was Jo Ji-sung of Korea Republic who just swam his own race, swam the smarter race, paced himself, and just showed in the closing stages as he pulled up alongside Duric with 25 meters to go. Come with me if you can. And he broke the Slovenian and posted the quickest time in qualifying at 3:03, and the only swimmer who's gone sub 3 minutes in the last year in this event, and very, very close to Richard Orib's 8-year-old world record of 2:55.81. Perhaps there's a chance of a world record in the final, but he might need to be pushed. And maybe the man to push him is Duric.
Well, it could be indeed. So we look at the final standings in there and Ji Jong-seong, 3:03.64, easily the quickest. Darko Duric from Slovenia.
Well, he finishes second in the heat and qualifies second fastest as well.
Well, Schoenmaker qualified third fastest in the end, despite being the winner of Heat 1. An interesting final in the latest session on day 6.
we got the dance cam going on at the Olympic Aquatic Stadium. And of course there are a few who are completely getting involved. But it's been another wonderful morning of swimming competition. Plenty rivalries played out in the pool, a few records that have fallen and a few markers laid down, few challenges being made ahead of the final session on day 6. Well, that'll be the end of the swimming session, the prelims on day 6. Well, that then concludes the preliminary session on day 6 of the swimming competition at these 15th Paralympic Games, Rio 2016. Plenty of excitement to look forward to in the pool later, and many multi-medalists already looking for further medals. Join us then. We look forward to your company for the final session on day 6. From now, the Olympic Aquatic Stadium for now, though, it's goodbye.